So let's begin with the seminiferous tubules. Okay, and then we'll diverge to spermatogenesis. So knowing what are testes, knowing what is and how does the male reproductive system work. If we talk about testes, okay, they are a pair of small sized glands, you can say, which have a width of, you can say, 4 to 5 centimeter, okay, height of 2 to 3 centimeter. They're oval shaped, okay. Then mainly pinkish colored, okay. The main factor is they are the primary, okay, most important, primary sex organs of male. Why I'm saying primary? Because they produce sperm. So whichever sex organ produces sperm or ovum, that is a germ cell, they are termed as the primary sex organ. For female, the primary sex organ will be ovary. Okay. Now, we all know that these are present in thin-walled skin pouches known as the scrotal sac or scrotum. Okay, there is a thin-walled pouches which hangs from the lower abdominal wall between the legs. Now, the scrotal sac is filled with tissue fluid. Okay, you might be knowing it's filled with tissue fluid, which is called as hydrocele. Hydrocele. So these are the terminologies we must be knowing. Okay. Now, the cavity of the scrotal sac, okay, is known as vaginal coelom. Okay, one more thing. Cavity of the scrotal sac is known as vaginal coelom. Coelom is cavity, if you remember from class 11th. Okay. Now, what happens is there is something known as descent or the descension of testis, meaning that the testis and ovary, they are present at the same level. Okay, they are present at the same level in the body, means within the body or inside your body. But as the male fetus begins to grow, okay, the testis keeps on descending and it comes out of the body, right? So there are small holes, small holes in the peritoneal cavity. All this is a great concept in the peritoneal cavity. This hole is known as inguinal canal. Inguinal canal, through which the spermatic cord, okay, spermatic cord means the testis along with vas deferens, that is the spermatic cord and the inguinal ligament. Here ligament means fold of visceral peritoneum, not that ligament which connects bone to bone. That is fold of visceral peritoneum. So this is known as spermatic cord. and visceral peritoneum fold inguinal ligament. They descend and they hold the testis in its place. Okay, I'll just show you to you the image of inguinal canal. Okay, we have also inguinal hernia. Okay, you might have heard of hernia later on. Just look at this screen and just sharing it to you. Can you see the screen? Everyone, can you see screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, see here. This is the cord which carries spermatic cord. Vas deferens starts from here and goes down the body, and then epididymis is the testis. Testis hangs outside the body. This canal is known as inguinal canal. This one. Okay. This is the inguinal canal. When you open a cadaver or dead body, okay. So this is the thing which is present only in males. In females, there is no canal like this. This is sealed from here. There is no opening. You can see an opening through which it is coming out, right? This opening. Look at this opening. There is no opening as such in females. The male body is weak at this point. Okay. So that is why if we lift very heavy weights in gym, intestine and other organs can try to protrude from here. It is known as inguinal hernia. Okay. Any organ which pushes against the peritoneal membrane, that is known as hernia. So we have ventral hernia, we have inguinal hernia. So this type of inguinal hernia has more chances of occurring in males than females. Okay. Mostly the wrestlers and you can say gym freaks, they get 1 or 2 times in their lifetime inguinal hernia, where you are operated and the area or the intestine is put back and there is a mesh it is put here so that it doesn't come out again. Okay, that is the problem. Inguinal hernia. One of the medical conditions to become doctor, then you should be knowing how to intervene and correct the issue. Okay, via operation, surgery. So the thing is, why does it descend? Because once you descend, the temperature drops. The scrotal sac is a great thermoregulator. Thermoregulator means that it keeps the testicular temperature two to 2.5 degrees lower than body temperature. Than body temperature. Okay, for normal spermatogenesis, that is the main requirement which has come out through evolution. Okay, because the lower temperature helps to stabilize the proteins and transcription factors required for spermatogenesis. That is the only issue here. Okay, now considering each testis, TES, TIS is singular, okay, and TES is plural. So considering each testis, so it is covered by a white fibrous capsule known as tunica albuginea. Okay, there is one layer known as tunica albugenia. Very, very important. Then this tunica albugenia is externally covered by a peritoneal layer, okay, visceral peritoneal layer of flat cells known as tunica vaginalis, like this. Tunica vaginalis, okay, and inner to the tunica albugenia, we have a layer which is continuous with the kidney, okay. We have a layer which is continuous with the kidney, that is known as tunica vasculosa, okay. Tunica vasculosa, okay. So there are three layers which cover the kidney, always know, okay. So we have tunica vasculosa, we have the tunica vaginalis, okay, then we have tunica albugenia. Or sometimes I can explain it to you in this manner also. Just wait. And explain to you in a very conceptual way. What happens is, this is the peritoneal membrane, okay, like this. This will take a fold on top of kidney, okay. So it will be a folded structure like this. And then tunica, you can see it, albugenia will come in. Let's change the color. Then tunica albugenia. So you can say, technically speaking, okay, first will be tunica vaginalis, outer fold is tunica vaginalis, okay. This inner fold membrane is tunica vasculosa, you can say like this. Then you have tunica albugenia, okay. Here your testis starts, okay. Okay, that is in the testis and it starts from there. Now, what happens is, there are multiple lobules in the testis, okay. We have multiple lobules, okay. So the tunica albugenia, it protrudes inside like this, okay, creating multiple divisions known as septa. Septa means they are plural for septum, okay. There are multiple demarcations or divisions known as septa. Get this very, very clearly. Now, septa will divide the testis into many testicular lobules, okay. Each division is a testicular lobule, okay. So how many testicular lobules are present? At least 250 in each kidney. This number comes in examination, okay. 250 testicular lobules are present in each kidney, and each testicular lobule contains 1 to 3 convoluted tubules, like proximal and distal in case of kidney. 1 to 3, you can say, convoluted tubules. That is known as seminiferous tubules. Or also sometimes known as scripts, okay. And in the inner side, okay, or on the inner side, they become kind of straight, okay. First there is convolution, then they become straight, The straight part is known as rete testis. People get confused always. What is rete testis? Seminiferous tubule like this. Okay. The inner part, it is becoming straight. The same seminiferous tubule. The inner part, it is becoming straight. The straight part of the seminiferous tubule only is entirely is a seminiferous tubule. Seminiferous tubule. So the inner part, it has become straight from here to here. This part is known as rete testis. Okay, very specific, and they open into rete testis. And sometimes in foreign author books you will find that specifically this part. Okay, this part is known as another name, by the name known as tubuli recti, and they open into rete testis. So rete testis technically is a network of tubules. Okay, there will be many network of tubules. They open into rete testis, but this specific part, this one, it is very straight. That is known as tubuli recti. Okay, the straight part, very straight part. You can see very straight part is known as tubuli recti. It comes in and opens into rete testis. Okay, in the seminiferous tubule. And now I'll draw seminiferous tubule within the kidney. Okay, just understand seminiferous tubule within the kidney. Sorry, within the testis. Both are very similar structure, kidney and testis. So the thing is, see, it happens like this. If this is the testis, this just won't have the fold. Okay, you will have multiple lobules like this. Multiple lobules. These are the lobules. Within the lobule, you will be having seminiferous tubule. These are the seminiferous tubules. Okay. These are the seminiferous tubules. Now, the seminiferous tubules would become, you can say, tubuli recti like this, straight part. Okay, and the straight part has joined with, you can say, the tubules. This is rete testis. This is tubuli recti. Okay. Now, ultimately, it will come out through the vas deferens. Multiple will horn in and it will become vas deferens. Now, what happens is something is known as, you can say, Sertoli cell. So, Sertoli cell, I told you, they do what? They form in yesterday's class, if you remember, within the seminiferous tubule. This is the seminiferous tubule if you look at it in a big way. And then it is becoming tubuli recti. Now, within the seminiferous tubule, we have multiple spermatozoa forming. Okay. And within that, we have Sertoli cell processes like this. And somewhere lying around, we have also interstitial cells known as the Leydig cells. Okay, they are polyhedral endocrine cells. You can draw it like this. They could be Leydig cells. Leydig cells are what? Polyhedral. Endocrine cells. Why am I calling it endocrine cells? Because it will release various types of testosterone. So there could be 4 types of testosterone I told you. One is direct testosterone, all are produced from cholesterol only. One is dihydroxy or 5-dihydroxy testosterone. This is known as DHT. These two are potent. Then one is androstenedione, less potent, and dihydroepiandrosterone, again less potent, DHEA. So males who have a lot of DHEA in their system, okay, who have a lot of DHEA in their system, they undergo pattern baldness, loss of hair. Okay, so there are medicines which decrease DHEA level. Means they will inhibit the the enzyme which will convert the substrate into DHEA. Okay, so those medicines are present. Okay, minoxidil, one of the medicines approved by FDA, okay, Food and Drug Administration USA. So that is used for stopping pattern baldness or ceasing the regression of, ceasing the progression of hair loss. Okay, so this Sertoli cell has done what? These are the processes that seal so that no T helper cell can reach and interact with the sperm. Thereby, it causes the blood Sertoli cell barrier. Okay, very, very important. Sertoli cells are also known as sustainacular cells. Okay, the technical name is also sustainacular cells. Okay, now there is something known as also epididymis. Okay, now epididymis is present on the behind, okay, posterior or posterolateral side of each testis. Okay, that is known as epididymis. Okay, I'll just show it to you. The figure. We have caput epididymis as well. Yeah, this is a good image. Can you see the screen? Anurag, Anuj, Ayushi, can you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. See here, look.
Yes, sir.
This is the Sertoli cell. Okay, see the Sertoli cell. Okay, so zoom it in. Let's zoom it in here. This will be better. See the Sertoli cell. How it is encircling the entire. See from backside also, forming a basal membrane. Okay. So this is acellular. This side is one layer of the Sertoli cell. These are the spermatids. Okay, or you can say call it spermatogonium or gonia in plural. Okay, then they become primary and secondary, and when they have flagella, they are known as spermatids that I'll tell you. Okay, when the sperm formation is taught completely. Okay, so this is Sertoli cell, the basement membrane. Okay, and that outside of that is, you can say, interstitial cell or Leydig cells. Okay. Now, if we talk about, this is known as seminiferous tubule. Okay, this is how it will look if we zoom it up. Okay, this is how it will look. This straight thing, just straight, look here. This part, this straight part is the tubuli recti. You can say it is written tubulus rectus 1. multiple will be tubuli recti, and then they have entered into this intercommunicating, intertwined vessel system. That is the rete testis. Then it comes out into efferent ductules. Okay. Then you have this epididymis. Top part is known as, also known as, you can say, caput epididymis. Okay. Down part is known as cauda epididymis. Okay. So there is the name. Top part is caput epididymis, CAPUT. Downward part is known as this one, cauda epididymis. Okay. And then this way we can go to vas deferens. Okay. So it is written here, ductus deferens. Here there are ducts of epididymis, because in within the epididymis, the sperms also undergo partial maturation. Okay, there are protein factors released, transcription factors released, which will nourish the sperm and will cause the flagellar movement to be more precise in the sperm. In the male body, partial capacitation of sperms, they happen in the epididymis region. Okay, then we have the vas deferens. If you want to write it, okay, what can we write? Just understand. This comes in 1 mark question in NEET exam, sometimes in board also. What is the real pathway of a sperm? It starts from seminiferous tubules. Then goes where? Tubuli recti. Not tubulus rectus. Let's keep it plural only. Then goes where? Goes to the rete testis. Okay. Then goes where? To the efferent ductules. You can write it down. Okay. Then goes where? After efferent ductules, it goes to the epididymis. Okay. Top part is known as caput. Downward is known as cauda. Okay. Then you go to vas deferens. Okay. This is the pathway of sperm migration. Proper with concept. Okay. Seminiferous, straight one, tubuli recti, then intertwined tubules, rete testis, the efferent ductules will take it to epididymis, caput, cauda, and then directly going on to the vas deferens. Okay. One more thing, epididymis here. Secretes protein factors. That is secreted by ducts of epididymis. That causes flagellar movement. It's rectified in sperms. That is known as partial capacitation. Where in the male body, okay, and then the last part of capacitation will happen where? The ultimate capacitation process happens where? In the female reproductive tract. Very, very important. Ultimate capacitation of sperms will happen in the female reproductive tract. More than 50% they cannot get capacitated, so they will not be able to penetrate ovum at all, even if you keep them together. Okay, even if you keep them in extremely close proximity, very, very near, nothing can be done. So capacitation means in the female tract, the cholesterol will be reduced, lipid rafts, the lipid distribution on the cell membrane will be changed. Okay, some new proteins will be expressed. So the entire membrane will become very, very ready, okay, for acrosomal reaction. Okay, acrosome is nothing but formed through Golgi apparatus. Okay, a bud of structure from or a budded off structure of Golgi apparatus. Okay, which has been budded off from Golgi apparatus present on the top of the sperm. Okay, where the sperm will try to penetrate from into the ovum. Okay, that is your capacity, sorry, acrosome. So the head of the epididymis is known as what? Technically, epididymis. What is the head known as? Just I told you, cauda. Sorry, caput. Okay, so caput, epididymis, or you can call it globus major. That is the top portion of the epididymis. Okay, so it is a swollen part present on the side of the testis. It's a swollen part. Okay, so it receives sperms from the rete testis. Okay, and also from the ductules, efferent ductules, which contain ciliated epithelial cells. So the efferent ductules contain ciliated epithelial cells. Can someone tell me why ciliated epithelial cells are present? Because they will need to beat the sperm toward it, because sperm have got flagella but they still cannot swim properly. They need to beat the sperm toward the front part or toward the, you can say, caput epididymis. Okay, they cannot really swim on their own. Then we have the body. Body is known as, body of the epididymis is known as globus normal. Then we have the tail or cauda. Okay, tail or cauda or globus minor. So these are the three parts of epididymis. Now function I have told you. One more thing I'll tell you, epididymis also is involved in storage of sperms for 18 to 24 hours. So under the function of epididymis, you can write storage of sperms for 18 to 24 hours. Okay, tick here in neat. Okay, the nutrition. When I told you maturation, so you can write it physiological maturation, partial capacitation from the sperm, rectification of the flagellar movement. Okay, especially motility, flagellar movement. So that is done. Okay. So it is kind of partial capacitation. Okay. And epididymis also undergoes peristalsis. Undergoes peristalsis. Okay. To keep on moving the sperms forward. Peristalsis is what? Regular contractile and relaxing movements, or you can say regular contractile movements would be better. Okay, repetitive. So that is done in epididymis to move the sperm forward. Okay. So in tomorrow's class, we'll be talking about the seminal ducts. Okay. That is prostate gland, the bulbourethral gland, and the seminal vesicle, the vas deferens. Okay, which is known as the seminal duct, and the hormonal regulation of sperm production. Okay, LH, FSH, then inhibin, okay, then polystatin, all those things. Is it clear? Any doubt? Anshika, Anuj, Anurag, Ayushi, Vasishthi,
No, sir.
Yes, sir.
Vasishthi, any doubt? Any questions? Okay, anyone any question? कोई क्वेश्चन है? अनुराग कोई क्वेश्चन है?
सर कल बताया तो था।
वो बताया था, लंबा वो प्रोसेस, वो क्वेश्चन थोड़ी ना है वो तो पूरा पढ़ाएंगे तब उसके अंदर क्वेश्चन आएगा। When I teach you that entire thing, negative feedback loop, then questions may arise. वो तो तुम्हें टॉपिक बोले हो, that is the hormonal regulation of sperm secretion, that is a big topic. कोई small question है कि नहीं? Any other question?
नो सर।
Okay, चलो, let's meet tomorrow. Thank you.